I met Paul, just been having a little bit of a trip down memory lane, because I met Paul when I did my first gig that I talk about at the Royal Armouries. The one where I was so nervous that taxi driver actually said, you know what, darling, there's no way I'm taking that £3.40 off you, because there's no way that I would want to be doing what you're doing tonight. And Paul was one of the first people when I got off at stage to come up and say, you were bloody great, that were absolutely fantastic, thank you. And I never forgot that. And we had a little chat, and I didn't see you for, I think that's 2 years ago.
Yeah, you came in the Visage group, and you were with Joe Haig, weren't you?
That's right.
You walked in, the bombshell, and I thought, remember Nikki?
Yeah.
And you made a fantastic impact on the group, considering there were 12 MDs there. The first time you met everybody, and wow, did they know you were there?
Ah, hey, yeah, it just comes easy to me.
So I thought, well, I remember Nikki, let's get back in touch, and here we are.
And here we are, and it's quite opportune that we're having this little talk, because you're just moving your business. It's quite, what's the word I'd like to use? Pivotal. It's a bit of a pivotal time for you, because you're moving your business into bigger offices, aren't you?
Yeah.
So let's just be a little bit reflective there, because when you move something on, you always look at where you've come from, don't you? So just take us up to what's kind of made you think about moving into these offices and what it means to you.
Well, 7 years ago, when we founded the business, we started from a 3 metre by 3 metre office. We actually walked past it when you came over a few weeks back. And we've evolved in these incubator units to take us to where we are now. But given that we're trying to evolve into a more kind of corporate company, but more so with ownership of our own space, we thought, well, the time's right to relocate. I must say that we decided that 2 years ago, and it's taken us until now to actually be 8 days from that relocation. But all the team have put a great effort in. I'm waffling here.
No, you're alright, carry on. The FA can't be worse than me, carry on.
We need to own our own space. We need to create an environment that reflects what the company's all about. Create a space where our employees can be proud to own that space and actually put some kind of personality onto it. Because where we are at the moment, whilst it's afforded us great opportunity to grow, it's a little bit sterile. There's a limit to what we can do. We're working in offices that are 32 degrees plus in the summer. We're not allowed air conditioning.
You can't open bloody doors when you come. That was so funny. Went for a meeting with them, and it was the funniest thing, because they couldn't open bloody door into the boardroom. We nearly had to barrage it down.
What hope have we got of successfully relocating now?
Well, at least you get a bit of grease on them door irons. I think we've forgotten to tell everybody, actually, and for anybody that listens, obviously another Yorkshire person, for everybody that's watching this in America, we get more hits on my site from the States than we do in England, as we've just had the conversation. But Paul's company is in Rotherham, which is in South Yorkshire. Did you know when you were little, let's go back kind of even before you started the company, when you were little, what did you think you'd end up doing?
At some stage, I remember thinking I would be in a white coat playing with test tubes after I got my first chemistry set about 7. But I got bored of that. There's only so many times you can mix iron filings with acid and get this rotten smell of bad eggs. And one summer I was out with my friends, and my parents used to live, and my father still does, at a house that backs onto some wasteland, and there's a disused railway track there. And growing on the railway track are lots of bramble or blackberry bushes. And as kids we used to pick these to put in a pie for my mum, and there's only so much bramble pie that you can eat before you get bored of it. And I thought, well, with all these brambles, now surely I can do more than that with them. So one day I saw that my mum had these little bags she used to make my dad sandwiches with, little clear food bags. So I decided to spend 4 hours going the best bramble bushes with the roundest, reddest ones, picking those, getting prickled like crazy. I had cuts up and down my arms.
Chuffing man from Del Monte.
I'd fallen, I'd get nettled. But there was this unlimited supply of brambles. And knowing that my mum used to use my brambles to make bramble pie, I thought, well, there must be some other mothers around the neighbourhood who don't have the benefit of kids like me, who would buy brambles. And I noticed that they shopped at a spar shop at the end of our road. So I thought, 2 and 2 together, there's a business opportunity here. This was at 7 years old. And I was retailing brambles, and it must have been in 1976 at the grand sum of 7 pence a bag.
Bloody hell.
And I did a roaring trade. So that was my first introduction, I guess, to entrepreneurism.
Fantastic. How did what made you start up Martek Marine then?
We were working in a business which was pretty successful, albeit was slightly blinkered in its approach to embracing opportunity. It was also the antithesis of what Martek is now in terms of the way it treated its people and the way it embraced opportunity. And we somewhat stifled in that business and thought, well, you know, there's a better existence out there. Opportunities were taken to the management team in that previous business, and for whatever reason weren't actually followed up. One of the opportunities that ultimately was refused by our previous business that we took forward has generated £5 million income for us. Has bought us a meal ticket at Buckingham Palace, 2 Queen's Awards, and ultimately a ticket to meet Richard Branson at his house.
But what does that feel like? Because what does that feel like? Because you know, you're the boy from Hull who created all this. When you got that invite to Buckingham Palace, and when you took Martek Marine from basically nothing to the millions it turns over now, what did that feel like? You know, I want to know what it felt like when you opened the letter and you saw the invitation. And I want to know what it felt like when you did your first million, and when you employed your first person. You know, all those little steps. Because you didn't just jump down a chute and here you are. What did it feel like?
As a team, to create this, it's been amazing. But you look at some of the milestones. Employing the first secretary was a really daunting thing. We thought, well, can we afford it? Is it the right thing to do? Can we, you know, have this luxury? Should we not be doing our own typing? And then when we made that step, we thought, well, actually, it wasn't so bad after all. And then that really inspired us to bring in a technical manager. When you look at some of the things like the Queen's Awards or the invitation to Richard Branson's house, well, a great feeling of pride and not wanting to...
Oh, so you've got Queen's Award, you're not actually going to Buckingham Palace for tea?
Unfortunately not.
Oh, I got that a bit wrong.
That's next year.
Yeah, that's next year.
But also there's the kind of pride of wanting to share it with your family, because I grew up as a kid, and I had quite a strict upbringing, and my mother was a great disciplinarian. And I one of my motivation has been to please my mother, and she passed away just over 2 years ago now. And it was, you know, it was fantastic to be able to share these things before her passing, and I guess a lot of my motivation and drive was to almost get a pat on the back from my mother, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think you get a pat on the back from everybody now, because what you've done is absolutely, utterly unbelievable, and in such a short space of time. But do you still get frightened? I mean, you know, we've just been talking about me having my new humble little offices, and, you know, I get excited if I'm getting a fax machine. But do you still get a little bit frightened, or is that kind of balanced with excitement?
It's certainly balanced with excitement, but we work in an industry which is cyclical. We work with products that have a finite product life cycle, and we're always going to look over the horizon for the next thing. And in planning to relocate the business, a not insignificant investment in moving from the security of a 1 month notice lease term with almost subsidised lease to your own home, to having to sink arguably £250,000 in capital into that. Okay, we've got a really strong order book, but there's always that kind of fear that, you know, what if the orders dry up tomorrow? Or what if the forecasts aren't realisable? Or what if something happens in the economy or within the business? Then there's always that fear, but I think it's critical that we're not risk averse. We have so far in the 7 years of the company, we've beaten every forecast that we've made ourselves, and perhaps we've been over conservative.
Come on,
bring it on! But now I think we're looking to press, you know, put the foot down on the gas, to reinvest as highly as we can, and write the next chapter in what we hope is going to be an amazing story.